record the episode here. All right, welcome everyone to episode 39 of Ponytails Podcast with Maddie Gregor over in, you said you're in Florida still? I'm sorry, I'm like
yes.
A million miles a minute. Where are you
Florida.
at?
South Florida, Fort Lauderdale-ish area.
Right near Miami. We had this talk. Yes, welcome. So excited to have you on. It's been a few years since I've seen your face and had a chance to talk. But yeah, it's cool to catch up and hear how your Southwestern story went and where it's taken you post college and post slinging books door to door. So welcome, Maddie.
Happy to be here.
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna have you share this real quick. Do you want me to send it to you over Facebook or here on?
Yeah, Facebook works.
Cool. All right. Let's get you.
Or do I just share this?
Yes, absolutely. That's it. Yeah, go ahead and share that live and we'll just let the people trickle in and they can ask some questions and share the love.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Doing it.
Yeah.
This is fun.
Oh yeah. So yeah, this is meant to be fun. It's just a celebration of this thing that we once did and how we just know each other a little bit from. We might share the same language and have all the same inside jokes, but we never really worked together, Maddie. So
no.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear your stories and get to know who was Maddie Gregor when she was a young squirt, just walking around campus in Orlando. And was it Amy who recruited you? Who was your?
It was.
Yes.
Amy.
Okay. So tell us, what got you into this whole book thing? You were like one day like, I don't want to do this because this sounds hard, but I kind of want to do it because it sounds hard. And then you're like waking up at 5:59 in the morning and go knock on a door by 7:30.
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
So it was my freshman year in college.
Cool.
So background story. So I grew up in Ohio, 18, 19 years of my life, and decided to come down to school in Florida. Mm-hmm. So didn't know anyone. What? Yeah.
Go Knights. Yeah.
So did not know anyone. Even my roommate was out of state. So we were both just two out of state people. And my first semester of college was like not super fun. Cried almost every day. Missed everyone back at home.
Yeah.
But second semester, spring, which is when recruiting is in full swing.
Mm-hmm.
I was in my biology class, I remember, and we got that slip to fill out for a survey.
Okay.
And it was like, cool, yeah, internships. Like, I guess I should get started on that. So fill out that slip and then got a phone call from Amy Pagosi, about informational meeting. And I was like, okay, cool. Said I'd go. And then in Florida, it rains a lot. So it was just raining that day. And I just did not want to get out of bed and go to this informational meeting. So I just didn't show. And then I later then lied and was like, oh, hey, sorry, I had a group project, couldn't make it. And then she was like, okay, great. When can you come on this day? And I was like,
yes.
Okay. And then I don't know if I went that second time or she had to reapproach me to come a third time, but I finally went and I went through the informational meeting and I was pretty naive freshman. It was just super excited. And Amy Pagosi is Amy Pagosi, so she's pretty good at her job.
Oh, yeah.
And I was pretty the opposite of skeptical. I'm just such a buyer, through and through. So everything she's saying, I was like, sounds great. She's like, any questions? I'm like, you're doing a great job. Yeah, this all sounds good.
So you were an immediate 10 and you stayed at a 10 and never went down.
So I started at a 10.
Okay, cool.
But because I went to college out of state, I was like, summer's going to be my only time to go back home. And then I had tickets to a Taylor Swift concert.
Ooh, T-Swift.
And it was a big deal.
Yeah.
Amy promised she would take me to a Taylor Swift concert, and I'm still holding her to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I talked to like, friends and family. My mom was like more skeptical. She was like, I don't really know about that. And yeah, at one point she was like, hey, I Googled all this stuff about this internship. Like, I don't really know. And I was like, yeah, I haven't Googled it. I don't know. Like, what's it say? Like, no, it's, kind of saying it's kind of like a cult,
Kind of, a little bit.
And I was like, just talk to Amy. She'll explain. But yeah, no, definitely every time I met with Amy, I was like crying about whether or not I should do this or not.
Wow. Every time.
Just about. She will say to this day that that I was cold every time I like sat down with her, and that she had to convince me that I was going to do this.
But she's good at what she does, and
she's so good at what she does.
Worked some Jedi mind tricks and did her thing, right? So, like, what was it that like finally got you to realize, okay, I'm stupid if I don't do this, right? Because otherwise, you would have thought I'm stupid for doing that, right? You wound up doing 5 summers with it. So,
yeah.
What kind of pushed you over the edge?
I'm just such a people person. Like, I will do. Like, I just love my people. And so Amy, like most book people, right? Anytime, but most book people just have like a charismatic personality about them.
Sure. Yeah.
So So I just saw her. I think she was like 23 or 24 at the time. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be like her when I'm 23 or 24.
Right.
So I just very much trusted her right away. But I'll never forget, so I didn't have a car my freshman year. So right before the summer, I had to fly up to Ohio to then drive to Nashville. And she's like, okay, I'll see you in Nashville. And I was like, yeah. And like later on, she told me, she's like, I really didn't know if you were going to be there. But I'll never forget, my mom was like, I was like crying as I was leaving. I was like, I don't want to go. And she's like, you don't have to. I was like, but I said I would.
There you go, girl.
So yeah, it was really just like I said I was going to do this, and that is how I stuck with my commitment.
And then you like accidentally had a terrible summer, and something like number 6 in the company or something like that.
Yes. I sold some things.
Yeah. Where was that?
I was in Wisconsin.
Ooh.
So I sold 3 out of my 5 summers in Wisconsin.
Wow. Smell the dairy air.
I love it.
So easygoing, so friendly.
Yeah.
Cool. So tell me about like that first summer and like challenges you overcame. Was it, because obviously you don't just like struggle your way to Nashville and then have a great summer for a first year without any sort of like lessons being learned and triumph over setbacks and all that good stuff. Yeah.
So the biggest thing going into that summer, Amy wouldn't live with me. She said that I was like too emotional to live with. So I lived with Annie Mudd, who sold summers for I think maybe 8 or 9 summers. I don't know how many she sold. But yeah, she was Mama Mudd that summer.
Nice.
And I cried just about every day. There was like 1 week where I think I didn't cry, and that was like one of my successes that summer.
Nice.
But yeah, no, so it was more so she's just like, dude, you're in Wisconsin, like you're really far away from home, you might as well make it worth it.
And so you made it worth it.
Yeah. So that summer was pretty good. Definitely glad I did that.
Any like fun, memorable stories from going, I assume that being from Florida, you hadn't really spent much time in a place like Wisconsin, right? Yeah,
Wisconsin people are like the nicest people ever.
Oh yeah.
My first summer, I will say, the craziest story that I have for my first summer. Yeah. Okay, I guess there's 2 stories from that summer.
Go for it.
It was, I walked up to this house, and it was like this older woman, and I'm pretty convinced she was like snorting some cocaine as I was like walking up. And she like threw it away, dusted it away. And at that time, I didn't really know a lot about, drugs at that point. But then like now I'm like, I cannot believe she just threw all that on the ground. Like what?
That's expensive. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was probably one of my crazier things that summer. And then another house that I remember in Wisconsin, it was like just a bunch of older people. And they were all like hooked up on like oxygen tubes. It's like the house and you like walk in and they're like really old and really nice. And there's like, yeah, come on in. And I'm like, oh, you don't know who I am.
Right.
Like, it's fine. Come on in.
Yeah.
And like, it was like probably 3 older men. I think that they had shorts on, but like, it was a lot of nudity.
Oh, so no shirts.
Yeah, definitely no shirts. And I think I remember like them having very small shorts on. But like then hooked up to like oxygen tubes. Yeah, it was weird. I was not there very long.
So that was like your blockbuster story from that first summer.
Yeah, from first summer. Definitely.
Just a bunch of dudes hanging out on oxygen or something.
A lot of older people in Wisconsin.
Oh, gosh.
But super great people. I love. If I would have sold one more summer, then I would have spent an entire year of my life there in Wisconsin.
Yeah. So like from that first summer, what like led you to go down the recruiting trail and spend more time with Southwestern in a way that's like also really hard and challenging to like convince someone to give up their summer and move away from home, all that good stuff. So
yes. So after my first summer, I became like Sally Southwestern.
Yeah.
And
got rid of the emotions, or you kept them and owned your emotions?
Yeah, the emotions are never going away.
Nope.
Never. That's just part of who I am.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I became Sally Southwestern. And what's kind of funny is that Amy, who is now a district sales leader, she was thinking that like that was going to be her last summer. Like she was full-time recruiting, she's going to build a team, then she was going to move on. And because I was such Sally Southwestern, I then later found out that she was like interviewing for jobs and stuff like that and just seeing what was out there. But she was like, well, how am I supposed to leave if she's like excited to like build a team and be here,
So that's good.
Yeah. So I was just super excited, and I, definitely drank all the Kool-Aid and was definitely ready to be a part of the cult.
Such flowery language. Love it.
But then I didn't know it was a cult. So one of my best friends, Kendall, who was my roommate at the time, who didn't sell books, she's like, dude, like this is a cult. Like you're on a lot of Kool-Aid right now. And I didn't understand for the longest time.
Yeah, we put the word cult in culture, right? That's just how we get you.
Wow, that's a great way to put that.
It's just true, It's what cult is kind of short for a little bit.
Yeah, I like it.
So you like loved going to Get Backs and Sizzlers and GRSs and all the fun trips and just all the knowledge that you'd get from each one, right?
Yes, definitely just the people. I'm sure everyone says that, but most of my best friends sell books. Well, a couple still sell books. Amy is still in Southwestern, and Emma Barnett, she's about to go into her 5th summer, I believe.
Crazy.
And then I definitely have just gained most of my best friends from selling books, and all the trips definitely made it worth crying during the summers, for sure.
So like where did you sell going in? Like, I don't know, look back through your summers with me. We've talked about that first summer.
Yes. First time I was in Wisconsin.
Yep. And then second summer
I was in North Carolina.
I was in beautiful country right there.
Great mountains of North Carolina.
Cool.
Amy was like, yeah, they have really like low reduced lunches. You're going to do great. I was like, okay, great.
Tons of customers. This was
before Sales Rabbit.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm drawing paper maps of like mountains.
Nice.
Like where I worked. It's called Boone, North Carolina.
Cool.
And
Good country.
yeah. So a very like touristy spot for where people go to like visit the mountains. And I was like trying to sell there.
Mountain folk.
There was only one time where I got like stuck in someone's driveway and I couldn't make it up the mountain. Oh, I do have a funny story from there though.
Okay.
So North Carolina, Aubrey Bell actually was following me.
Okay, cool.
And someone had told us we were in like the sticks, right? Like straight mountain.
The boonies of Boone, North Carolina.
Yes. And someone told me we had like heard word there was like a mountain man show on, I don't even know, but there's some like mountain man show. And we had caught wind that this guy on this TV show like lived in this area.
Okay.
And so Aubrey and I tried to find this house.
Yeah.
And the incline, like we were in drive and I like was trying to drive my car and it was just not going up at all.
So those mountains.
Like, yeah, it was really bad. But that was fun. We had some fun times.
Did you find this home? You can't just say that we're gonna find this home and then just not tell a story about it.
Never found it. Get up the driveway.
Sure.
Get the driveway.
So you just kind of like gave up on that. That was summer number 2.
That was summer number 2.
Anything else while from North Carolina? Because I've heard so many people just like go on and on about North Carolina. I've only spent a week out there and it was gorgeous, wonderful people. You know, I know they're pretty education conscious over there, kind of, and sometimes not.
Oh, that was the summer I rolled my car.
Oh.
I was thinking, being in the mountains, there was like all of my roommates had gotten in car accidents. Yeah, it was that summer, like we had all gotten in car accidents. I rolled my car.
Ooh.
My roommate, yeah, we all got in car accidents that year.
So what happened with your car rolling story? Tell that story. I'm curious.
So actually,
because this is the problem solved right here if you're still alive and your car rolled.
Yes. So I was in the major sticks. I was out of the mountains. I was in, I forget what it's called. There's like an area like right after the mountains. They call it a specific area. Anyways.
Okay.
And I was on this road and it was definitely where like the meth heads lived. Mm. And again, I didn't know that much about drugs then. Like I definitely had some customers that like, and I had no idea.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's countless like high and drunk people who bought books and like the kid was none the wiser while selling it to him. That's hilarious.
So it was just like a dirt road, and I'm one of those people that I would wear my book bag while driving. So my seat was like all the way back. And the windows were just open and I was going too fast and it started fishtailing my car. Mm. And then, you know, in those moments where it's like, what is going to be your last thought before you die?
Oh my gosh.
My last thought was like, dude, is this seriously happening? Like I have appointments to get to, like, come on.
Such a drag.
Right. So,
and then like flipped and tumbled and
yeah. So
please go on.
I guess it only flipped once.
Okay.
So it was like upside down.
Yeah.
But my windows were open. And so I crawled out of my windows and like I still had my backpack on. So that was like a big Spidey move. And then
what did you do? Did you just like call and get, please, this is the story. I'm like, I'm wrapped up in this right now.
Yes. So people who lived on the road, I assume the not meth heads. I think one was like a teacher. Yeah. And they like found me and I'm like crying hysterically. And they call the cops get there. I'm like on the phone with my dad. The cops like talk to my dad because I'm like crying hysterically. The catch is that it was just my birthday and my driver's license had expired.
Ooh. Girl.
Yeah, but the
Ooh.
cops literally never even asked for my driver's license.
Okay, that's good.
Like, didn't get a ticket, didn't even ask questions.
Hmm.
It was pretty crazy. But yeah, so that happened. So the teacher, they drove me back to my HQ. I don't know what happened to my car. I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Oh my gosh. So you got a new car or you just hooked it?
So I think my dad ended up driving my car up to Ohio, the rolled car.
Wow.
So we drove up to
Was he,
Ohio.
like, squatting with the squashed roof above him?
I think he was, yeah.
That's crazy.
And I went up to Ohio. I had to get a new driver's license because I couldn't even get a rental car because I didn't have a valid driver's license. And then Shane Blick and his org were actually selling where I was from in Ohio. And so I followed Shane one day.
Wow.
And then I got a car. My mom was going to get a new car anyway, so I ended up getting like her old car. So drive back. Oh. So yes, I drive her old car. So there was a lot of cars. Yeah. No.
We're really digging here. This is like flushing up some old memories right now.
Yes, it is. So I rolled a car. Yeah. And then I had gotten another car, brought it back. And then I backed up into someone a week later after having that new car. I was mixing up because my first summer I ruined a car because a deer ran into me in Wisconsin. I had a lot of car issues.
Car problems.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, all's well that ends well. Here I am, alive and well, out of all my car accidents.
Oh yeah. Did you have more in your next summer's 3rd and 4th and 5th, or?
Well, yeah. So the first summer was the deer. Yeah. The deer ran into my car. I did not hit the deer. The deer ran into my car.
Of course. That's how it typically goes. I know.
The second summer, yeah, I rolled the car. The third summer, I don't think I had any car issues.
Okay. Sure.
Driving definitely got better as the summers went on.
That's good. You learn your lesson, right? That's awesome. Yeah. So I've got a specific question from Angie Quinones, one of our favorite audience members.
Okay.
What has been your favorite problem-solving story from all your summers? That's a pretty vague question. I encourage you to think about it. Favorite problem-solving story. Maybe the car situation you just described is up there, but there's, I'm sure, something else out there.
Favorite problem solving. I don't know. I feel like that was every week, especially having to be an OL and stuff.
True that.
Yeah, I guess the car situation.
Yeah.
Just because even going home, having to get a new car, it would have been super easy to just be frick this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess the car situation.
Yeah. We love our problems, right? We eat those for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yes, getting on live.
Yeah, right?
For dinner. That problem.
Work as prescribed, We paid you Zoom and you said we couldn't go live, but here we are. We figured it out.
We did.
So what's when I think of Maddie Gregor, I think of just this bubbly spirit with the big smile that you got right there, and just your huge contagious laughter. It totally makes sense that you went out and changed the lives of all these kids who struggle with their homework, right? And all these people that you recruited to sell books and everything. But what was your style in selling? Were you kind of the fun, wacky, kind of getting everyone involved type of gregarious Maddie Gregor, or were you more of a straight and focused, all business, no play?
You saying that, my first thought is that I only ever really sold kids books. I did not sell a whole lot of Advantage.
Okay.
So I basically just liked hanging out with the young kids. They couldn't talk yet, couldn't tell mom and dad that they wouldn't use them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I love the kids books. Flamingo Fact, I use that 50 times a day.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Real quick, did you know that flamingos are kind of like ancient bacteria that have become super adaptive to whatever their environment brings them? They can exist in extreme heat and extreme cold, and they can basically eat and gain nutrients out of almost anything. That's why they eat algae and shrimp, which is what makes them pink, is the iodine in the algae or the shrimp. Whatever they wind up eating, they're like, I'm a pink little, spoon-faced dinosaur who can't be beaten by your crazy extremes weather. Take that.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that fun fact.
Yeah, but you know why they're pink, of course.
Right. Social study.
Oh yeah.
My other favorite fact was like the bats. Like, why do bats hang upside down?
Why is that?
Because their legs are not strong enough to hold them right side up.
I actually never read that. That's awesome.
Really? Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Those are always my go-to.
Cool.
But yeah, no, I think I was pretty serious, like in the homes. Like, I definitely was not the one to like go do like crazy things during the day. I definitely just went to the next house and, had the fake laugh on, tried to get moms to love me as quick as possible, sold some kids books with some fun facts, and moved on.
Wow, that's such a, that's a matter of fact description of your career selling books door to door.
Yeah.
But it meant more than that, right? Come on. Maybe not. I guess not.
Yeah, I wasn't super. I was always afraid of getting the cops called on me. So I was like, I was not down to like mess with people because I was like, they could call the cops at any point.
Yeah.
And
they do. They call those
yeah.
cops. I've had them called on me just a few times.
Yeah, I think I've only got them called on me like twice.
Sure.
Which, in most people's track record, is not that many times.
No, yeah, I've had at least a handful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So did you like have fun on the book field? Did you like play any like fun scenarios out with people following you and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I also loved when people followed me. Like, there was, definitely a couple times being an OL. It's like, hey, come follow me. I don't want to go to work today. That was a lot of times my fourth and fifth summer.
Real talk.
Yeah. It's funny when I was like thinking like funny stories. There was this time when Blake Powell followed me. He is from University of Kentucky, and I was like zeroing all day. I was selling over Meredith Gardner actually, and I was just, they had all bought books from Meredith. It was only like a few years after. I guess probably like 3 or 4. But anyways, I was just zeroing all day. And then at one point he was just started talking this in like Australian crocodile accent.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right, she's going up to the door. Let's see what she can get. I don't know. I was just thinking about that. That was funny.
Yeah. Just narrating your life, in a British or Australian accent.
Right.
And describing.
See, I couldn't do that because I would just start laughing. Yeah. At one point I stalked Alex Soto because I really did not want to go to work and I was going to follow him. So that was my first successful, like, I knew the town he was working in.
Are you telling me you just like showed up in his turf without announcing that?
Yes, he did. Our phones were off, right? So his phone was already off. So
Wow.
I knew the town he was working in. And so I drove like street by street looking for his car. And then when I finally pulled up, he was walking out of this house. I don't know if he like sold them, but he had explained he was from Florida. And then the guy was like, oh wow, look, there's another car, like they're from Florida too. And then he like did a double take. He's like, oh, Maddie, what are you doing here?
Oh my gosh. How did that day play out? I'm curious.
It was good. Me and Alex had some fun. I worked with him my 4th summer. That was also in Wisconsin.
Cool.
So we had some fun. We yelled together. Yeah.
Cool. I've never heard a story like that. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Sometimes you just like gotta stalk some people in their town and follow them.
Yeah. I think that would be hilarious if like every single person knocking on doors, just like out of nowhere, someone that they know shows up and says, I'm working with you today. And it's just like, all right, time to have fun, and
Yeah.
man, I'd have fun doing that, just surprising people on the book field.
Yeah.
So that's cool. 4th summer, 5th summer, anything worth sharing from there? Or is it just like all, such a blur that, we're already talking about all these stories as is?
Yeah. My 3rd summer was kind of fun.
Oh yeah?
I lived with Emma Barnett and Millie Thacker.
Gotcha.
And we were in Tennessee.
That's some good territory.
Yeah, I worked south of Nashville.
Short Sunday meeting drive, huh?
Yes, very great.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that summer was fun. Definitely found myself only hanging out with the alumni towards the end of that summer. To say the least.
Okay. Has been said.
Yeah. Learned from that.
Right.
But yeah, no, that was cool. 3rd summer we lived with a couple alumni. That was awesome. And trying to think what we did in Nashville. Anyway, so yeah, Nashville was great. And then 4th and 5th summer we're back in Wisconsin. So 4th summer, trying to even think about like where I was selling my 4th summer. Oh, 4th summer I was in Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Cool.
So that was like another college town in Wisconsin. Honestly, as I'm talking to you, I'm just thinking about like things that happened, and all I just think about is how many times I got bit by dogs.
You got bit by dogs a lot?
All the time.
What?
There was one point, and it might have been my 4th summer, where I got like kind of mauled by this dog, and I was bleeding so bad. And I went to this like house. I think it was like a Saturday, so I was doing callbacks. So I was like, I already met these people, pretty cool. I was just going there. And they like took me into their bathroom and was like cleaning off like my leg that was bleeding so much. They bought, so that was cool.
Nice.
One time I got bit by a dog, and this guy bought solely because I got bit by his dog.
Oh, by his dog. Okay.
Yeah. And then I
got bit by 2 dogs in my whole 4-year career. One was just a nibble that was kind of like aggressive on my hand. The other one was a full-on chomp on my bicep, and I've got like the whole scars and everything. That was my best day selling books of my career. Was
rock on.
I had like 5 days off. I'm sorry, 5 hours off from the doors because I called the vet and she's like, "Oh my gosh, Will Metcher last summer lost 2 weeks and had to go to surgery because he didn't get it cleaned out. Go to urgent care."
Oh my God.
Yeah. And so I went and got, it all cleaned out and everything. I was listening to stand up the whole time to keep my attitude up. And then I just went out and just sold. And it was just like awesome. Yeah. So, but you had more than just a couple dog bites, it sounds like.
Yeah. I probably got bit by like at least 5 dogs.
Crazy.
Yeah. My best summer, or my best day ever. Now that you just said your best day ever.
Yeah.
It was in Nashville, Tennessee. Well, not in the city of Nashville, but like basically. I was Facebook messaging, right? So I didn't have my phone on, I wasn't texting, but we had our iPads, right, to like post on Facebook right away. So I was Facebook messaging Millie, who's my roommate, And I was like, just really wanting to go to the movies that day. And I was like, should we just go to the movies? And we were both just like not wanting to go to work. And I was like, no, Maddie, we're gonna go to work. And then I had my best day ever. And then after that, I was like, we go to work every day.
Yeah, I should probably go to work. Probably show up, do my job. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was literally for me. It was like at 7:59. I'll be honest. I didn't always get my knock before 8 in. Sometimes I'd like knock a little bit after 8 because my turf was so far away. Sometimes, and just whatever reason, I got brand new tennis shoes. I like drove to Walmart, got tennis shoes at like 7:15 in the morning, and I'm like driving the 45 minutes up to my turf, and I'm just like I pull off at a house that I had already knocked before, but wasn't super interested, never got them home, and I knock on the door. It's 7:59. I'm like, oh, all right, cool. And so I hear, and I hear like these 3 big dogs jumping at the door, and I'm just like, fourth summer, like no biggie, whatever, it's just dogs, I love dogs, and so the owner comes, who I think is the owner, comes and opens the door, and just this flood of 3 dogs come jumping out, and I kind of like brush them aside, and then this last one jumps up and takes a huge chomp on my left bicep. Right, and I had to like throw it off basically, and like it was just like I ran to my car with my brand new shoes, which weren't formed to my feet. So my shoes just flew off because they just weren't tight on my feet. And so I like get in my car, and I'm like bleeding. Oh my God, this is crazy. And so it turns out like the dude who opened the door got the dog sometimes like, are you okay, man? I'm like, no, I'm bleeding. Like I need help. He's like the son of the parents who own the place, and his sister has kids that lives there.
Gotcha.
And so I just like work my way because the answer to every problem is behind the next door. And I'm like getting people being like, oh my God, you're bleeding. Like, are you okay? Yeah, I just got bit by a dog. And they're like, go to the police, And I sold a 4-set and got the logging. And I was like, yeah, all right, now I can actually feel good. I didn't have a 0 day. I'll go talk to the police. And it turns out like the dog had problems. It was historically a problematic dog for the neighborhood. And so like they're talking about putting the dog down. I'm just like, no, like can I leave? Like I don't care. And so I call a vet. She tells me to go to the urgent clinic. I do the thing, and then I like get back out there and sell a 3-set, a platinum, another set, and it's just like it all added up to quite a good day. So I don't know. That's why we go to work, right? In spite of the
Yes. It's so crazy. Like when I think back, like the Maddie now, like if something crazy were to happen to me, I'd be like, I think this is an okay excuse to not go to work.
Yeah, right. We like lose so much of our hardcore nature.
Normal life.
Yeah.
Like when I would come back and like tell like family or friends, they'd be like, you just like kept going. I'm like,
yeah.
And in our eyes, right? Like in the moment, we're like, why wouldn't I go to work?
Schedule's my lifeline,
Oh my gosh. And no, it's like very different perspective.
Yeah. No, take care of yourself. Like for real, Yeah. Education might be a top priority for Americans, but health is a bit more of a better priority.
Right.
So, yeah. So what it is, there's tons of funny things, Did you have any other stories coming to mind?
Well, no, I mean, yes, but I was going to say it's funny coming out of the bubble and realizing X, Y, and Z.
And A, B, C, and D, and E, F, G. There's so many things that are just like, whoa, we were in a cult, right? And that's okay. I mean, it's like super high speed vehicle that's running at light speed, and you go some pretty cool places, do some cool things, and grow a lot. But
of all the cults to be included in, I was really glad I was a part of that one.
That book thing. Oh yeah.
Try to think of other stories. Oh, I remember it was my birthday. My birthday is always during this summer.
When's your birthday?
It's actually in 9 days, May 25th.
Whee.
Yeah. But I remember one time I followed Amy on my birthday.
Cool.
And she had just got like an Apple Watch. And maybe it wasn't an Apple Watch, maybe it was a Fitbit. I don't know, but it like tells you when you hit, oh, I guess it was a Fitbit, because it tells you when you hit 10,000 steps, because like that's exciting.
Yeah.
And I guess it was only funny in like the moment, and me telling the story, it might not be as funny.
I want to laugh, please.
She
Call it
was
up.
like, woo, 10,000, and like rolled her ankle. And like when we're on the book field, right? We're thinking like units. I'm like, whoa, 10,000 units.
Right.
And she's like, oh no, 10,000 steps.
And she rolled her ankle.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. Cosmic irony.
I've never been super good at telling stories, if I'm super honest.
Hey, I'm trying to get something out of you.
It's one of those things where it's one of those things where like you think it's super funny, and then I try to tell the story, and it's just like actually not that funny.
Yeah.
I'm historically known for that, actually.
Oh, okay. And then you found $5?
Yeah, and then I found $5. Who told us that?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean,
someone told us to tell that anytime it's like not a funny story, and then you say, and
it's a well-known secret to being
okay.
To being interesting, you know.
Got it.
Hey, you might find $5, and who knows, if I'm feeling extra generous, I'll give you one, right?
Yeah.
No, you're not. This is my $5 if I find $5, right?
Absolutely.
Well, let's transition here. What are you up to now? I mean, you've been out of the book world for a couple of years now, haven't you?
Yes, I have. And I still have many of friends who are still selling books.
Likewise.
Yeah, so as I said before, I was just talking to Jacob Levine, someone I recruited. I never really figured out the whole recruiting thing, but I did have one person stick, you know? So it's always like the rule, like replace yourself when you leave. So
I wish I followed that rule. I didn't know that one. So.
Oh well. potato. So yeah, Jacob's still selling books. He's in. What's crazy is their org is literally selling over where I sold my 5th summer. And then I have people. I was just living up in Kentucky for like a year. So I have people that are also like Alex Soto, and a couple other younger kiddos are selling like where I just was in Kentucky. And then my first year not selling books, which would have been last summer, Aisha and her org were actually selling where I grew up.
Yeah.
I was like helping her find HQs last year. What? And then this year I was like trying to help people with like turf and like HQs and stuff. And so I am gone, but my heart, you know, still there.
You know, my heart will go on. Celine Dion, Titanic. Anyway.
But yeah, I mean, I still get all the juicy stuff from Amy, and
yeah,
she fills me in.
So, do you have any like self-talk is a big thing? Like, how has that like been a thing for you? Do you still talk to yourself? Do you have a favorite self-talk?
I do still talk to myself. I have to talk to myself to get through every day.
Oh, yeah.
In the morning, it's still just like a habit because it's like quiet in the morning. Yeah. And, you know, instead of like running around with roommates, I'm just like getting ready by myself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my self-talk. My go-to that I just still say every day is like, live my life, live my job, live myself. That is what I say every day.
Live my life, live my job, live myself.
Yeah, that's what I would say before every time knocking on the door.
Nice.
Definitely still a big fan of self-talk. I would always sing like "It's a great day to be a book girl." You know that song?
Actually, it's so funny.
When the sun's still shining and something.
I never knew that song.
No, it's not. It's a real song. It's like, it's a great day to be. Oh shoot, I don't know. Anyways, that's
and then
weird.
you found
She's
back
still
others.
alive, so there's that.
Yeah. There's that laugh. There we go.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's still here.
Oh.
So self-talk, yep, that's important.
I'm getting some help here from Angie. Do you have a favorite Bookfield birthday story?
One time I followed Toria.
Nice.
Yeah, and she was working. I don't even know if she would remember this, but I remember this.
Yeah.
Because she was working in this community, and it was like all. Were they? I don't know if they were like Muslim or I don't know, very Middle Eastern.
Sure.
I don't want to, gotta be politically correct, right?
Yeah.
Very Middle Eastern. So no AC, all had like their hair wrapped. And we were in like South Carolina. And I was like, we're in South Carolina. Like, did we get on a plane? Like, it was just like
I imagine they did.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, it was super hot. So that was the summer I was in North Carolina, but drove to follow her. I just never liked to work on my birthday. I just wanted to follow someone else and have fun. Yeah. So there was that. Follow my birthday.
What was the favorite story?
We just it was no AC in all these people's homes, and it's like they had school in their little trailer things. So we would walk up and there's 10 kids in school right now. So I guess, yes, definitely a homeschool situation, but it was just so Middle Eastern. I literally felt like we were in another country.
So
in South Carolina.
It was in a trailer, you said, right?
Many of trailers, yes.
Like couple double wides or something?
Yes.
They were all smushed together and turned into a school for all these Middle Eastern kids?
Yeah.
And so you walked in during school with Toria trying to sell them books, and you had to be like, oh, we'll catch you another time, or what?
Yeah. Yeah. That was a birthday. I'm trying to remember my other birthdays. I remember there was there was one summer that I told multiple people that it was my birthday 4 days after. Just played the birthday thing out all week.
It's my birthday.
They don't know.
Next day, it's my birthday.
Yeah.
Hey, it's my birthday.
I loved telling people if they didn't.
I would definitely tell people it was my half birthday on July 10th because my birthday's in January.
And they'd
be like, okay, it's your half birthday.
I would just love making people oh, you don't want to buy? It's my birthday. Are you sure? It's my birthday. Yeah.
Birthday stories. What about, do you have a favorite customer that above all the customers is just you'll never forget that story because it happened in weird circumstances and they were just weird, or they were so cool and they saved you from just a really dark moment or something like that?
I'll never forget my first summer when Mike Yandre was my DSL. And he was it was one of those, I guess it was towards the end of the summer or middle of summer where they were doing coaching calls in the middle of the day.
Right. Yeah.
And your first summer, it's whoa, you want me to turn my phone on in the
middle?
Yeah,
right. That sounds dirty. No.
So that was crazy.
Yeah.
So it was I was in Central Time, and so I'd missed my phone call to begin with, and I was just crying a lot. It was my girl time of the month, and that day, I'd also gone to the gas station to get chocolate because I just really needed chocolate. And anyways, I finally get on the phone with Mike. I'm like, Mike, everyone's saying no to me. No one wants me.
Yeah.
And he's just Maddie, you're one more you're one more door closer to a yes. And then literally the next door answered the phone or answered the door.
Yeah.
And she was an angel. I remember that.
How'd that story play out? Let's hear it.
Well, it's funny because my first summer, I totally did not care how long I stayed in the house. Like, I definitely stayed in the houses like hour, 2 hours.
Dang.
So this girl just let me talk. She was like a younger mom, and she just let me talk about all my feelings and my emotions. So I was just talking to her for like a really long time, and she just listened, and she was just, putting her groceries away. But she was great. She did buy. So, it's always the great ending to that story. She bought.
And that was your favorite customer of all time?
I just feel like there's so many. Like, I can't, like 5 summers, like what if we talk to 3,000 people?
That's 15,000 sit downs or like
15,000 people. Wow. To even just think if I've met 15,000 people.
Honestly, that's like the amount of people you probably demoed or thereabout. You probably knocked on twice that because every other door didn't answer, just about.
Yeah.
Not every time. And you probably met people that you never counted. And there's all the people you meet at the grocery stores. Like I feel like I've met 500,000 people in my life.
Wow.
I mean, just like in being in close proximity, eye contact. It's not like the full intro. Let me try and sell you something. Here's my story. It's, we meet a lot of people in our lives, and all we do when we go knock on a bunch of doors is we like get intimate exposure to the human condition, and get clear insights on like the worries, the stresses, and like the things that people care about with like their kids' education. It's a very emotional topic. So we were lucky.
Yeah, I think my favorite houses to go into were the ones that were like, the very, just like, the single moms or the families that might didn't have the most money, but they still just like bought. And at the end, you like walk down, you're like, whoa, I can't believe they bought a bunch of books. But it's like, they just cared about their kids' education.
It's like a life affirming thing to do that for someone. And typically the most grateful and like so happy you stopped by as they're writing you a check for hundreds, if not thousands of dollars.
Right.
After meeting you 20 minutes ago, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. It is honestly just like when I talk about selling books with like anyone, people like still can't believe that I did this. Like
sometimes I'm like, man, I know that I did that, and I can't believe that I'm like not as badass as I used to be. I make kind of some excuses here and there. I'm not up to it.
Yeah, I definitely make a lot more excuses, but also at the same time, I probably made some more excuses back then too. Like,
it's
Amy,
just
sorry, I can't do this.
You find different excuses for different things, right? Yeah. We put in our time. That's what it really equates to.
We did. Yes. Did you sell 5 summers too? How many did you sell?
I attempted to go at a 5th summer, but if you remember how yeah, I did 5 sales schools. So
rock on. I do recall that briefly.
Yeah, a lot of people recall that. So I'm like debating when I should tell that story of like how I got fired. I haven't told the podcast yet.
Oh, okay. The only reason I kind of knew about it is because I think it included Florida kids.
I was supposed to sell with UCF that summer.
I remember.
Yeah. So I suppose, do you want to hear the story, Maddie? Is it time for me to tell the story?
I guess it's time, yeah.
All right, screw it.
Have you been waiting to tell this?
There's been a lot of people who've been like, tell your story, Nick, come on. I'm like,
let's do it.
All right, so, okay, this is the story of how Nick Taverdi was fired from Southwestern Advantage Book Company in the summer of 2017. So, anyway, where to start? So
you should also preface that not many people get fired.
Yeah,
it's very selective
Yes.
group of people.
A very honored core group of people. Yes.
Truly, you should be honored to be in that group of people who have been fired.
Oh yeah. And let's yeah. All right. So this is a story of how I got fired. My life got flipped turned upside down, right? Because I was recruiting full time in Lincoln, Nebraska. Go Big Red, the Huskers, right? I was with some other force folk up there, and I was putting in all the work. I, brought like 316 people in front of an info session and attempted to put them in the process, and just was like trying to work the numbers. And I had one person come with me to sales school, and it was a struggle because this guy was like not always on top of his sales talk, and he was putting in good work, and I could tell that he just had other things in life going on because school and whatnot. But I'm like, whatever, let's just go to sales school. And how I wind up working with UCF instead of Nebraska is before the summer, Mark Rao was like, hey, you and your other friend that you were recruiting with all semester, like y'all didn't really do too much, so you're not going to be working with Nebraska. Nebraska is kind of on a downhill slope. I need you to go pick a different org and come back with ideas from a thriving organization so you can help revive the force when you come back.
That is why you're supposed to work with us.
Yeah. So I was given a choice of whoever I wanted to go work with, I could go work with. And who better to work with than Mike Andre? So
there you go.
Chose Mike, and I was like, hey man, I actually was given the option to choose, and I actually want to work with your group. I've learned a lot from you at Get Backs and everything, and I kind of want to work with you and learn more. And so he was like, awesome, man, let's go, and put me into the UCF group, the second org from UCF. And I was working hard all sales school because I was like the most senior manager for that group that summer, but I wasn't the OL. I wasn't anything other than like the SEAL team, like the social media guy. Yeah. And so that was fun, but I was just like busting my chops and, getting to work and running in the parking lot at sales school and practicing my sales talk and basically just being a book Nazi, to put it very, frankly, because as the week went on, my first year quit after the real deal when they like do a mock of, running around in the circle, and he just couldn't. He was like, no, I'm not doing this. I can't handle this. And I'm like, fine. Thanks. Can I help you in any way? Okay. I appreciate you spending some time with me. Go home. Right. And so that happens. And the next day we get paired up with roommates. And I get paired up with these two roommates who all week long saw me running around being intense and being just like a book Nazi, and they weren't super excited. They didn't want to work with me. They didn't want to work with each other, rather like be roommates. And so like they were complaining to other managers who came to me and were like, Nick, you need to like, get involved here and like make sure this still, actually happens, you living with these people. I'm like, all right, cool. So I pull them aside and kind of get them to puke a little bit and say, it's okay. Like, we're going to have a great summer and let's do this. And so I wasn't used to this, but the Eagle Blitz took, roommates out to dinner right before the keynote speech.
Yes.
And so I take them out to dinner and I'm just like, this is new. This is different. Force never did this, but Eagle Blitz did. And I'm just like getting to know them over dinner a little bit. And this is a crucial detail because this is how it all unraveled.
Okay.
I'm writing in cursive on a sheet of paper of the things that we want to commit to as roommates to have an awesome summer. Right. And so again, I'm writing in cursive, crucial detail. One of the roommates noticed and said, "Oh, you write in cursive too?" I do, and I kind of like have some struggle with my S's. They take a while. I'm just like, huh? What do you mean? He's like, like when you write out the letter S, it just kind of like takes a minute. It was like, oh, okay. I actually know what you're talking about because mine do too. Here's what I do is I kind of write it a bit different when it's at the beginning of a word. And no, here's a phrase just to show you both what I'm talking about. And this is something you're both familiar with. And that's sucking dick.
That is what it was.
And then they laughed, and I was like, oh, cool. So I've got a, good audience to tell some jokes with. I went to an all guys high school. It's very Southwestern bro-ish humor. Like the guys like to mess around and tell dick jokes, right? Locker room talk. And so I like tell a few more of those jokes, as we're going through things like, let's not suck dick this summer. We're going to do awesome and whatever. The problem was we get back to the company HQ where we're having the keynote speech. And I said to them, and I say this out loud, just to let the world know that I messed up. These kids, sure, blame on them. I don't care. It's all on me because I'm the one who said this. By the way, don't fuck with my sleep schedule. Otherwise, you'll wind up with my dick in your face. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm glad you laugh at, because I was.
Yeah, no, right? This is funny.
Yeah, it was just, that was the the tone of humor that I was putting out towards these guys, and it was probably a trigger for one of them because maybe there were some jokes made in his past life where they were not just jokes but full-on threats, because they both went to their manager, who went to Mike Andre, who went to Dan Moore, saying that they did not feel safe living with me. And that they were going to press sexual harassment charges. And so, I said that when we were pulling into the the parking lot at sales school, and I hop out of the car and I'm like, yeah, come on guys. And they're like, no, we're good. We'll catch up with you later. They go tattle on me in effect. And I'm just sitting in the area where they were doing sales school at the company, because it was a bit smaller that week. And I'm watching Virgie Sanford give her her really emotional success coin talk, dedicate yourself to the summer, do it right, live in integrity. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I have a 72-page 7-step outline. I'm gonna sell a ton of books this summer.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was ready, or so I thought, because after Virgie gives her, success coin talk, all the people from President's Club come in, right? They come into the auditorium and watch the keynote speech. And so I see Danny Gamboa, Force stud. He's the DSL there now. And I'm like, yeah, I'm repping my Force t-shirt. Yeah, Danny. And then there's Grant Greeter. And he's like, yeah, that's awesome, Nick. Go Force. And he pulls me aside. He's like, why does Dan want to talk to you in his office right now? And I'm just like, Dan Moore, you don't sound happy about this, Dan. I don't know what's going on.
You want to talk to me?
Yeah, right? Grant was kind of nervous. I became nervous as we're walking upstairs. And then Dan ushers us into his office, and that's just kind of quickly, everything seems off. And I'm hit with this question of, Nick, what can you tell us about why your roommates no longer wish to live with you this summer because of sexual remarks made at dinner? And I'm like, huh? And I tell the story as I've told it here on this podcast today. And he's like, okay, yeah, we know you're not lying. Good. And I'm like, yeah, of course. What's going on? And so it was clear that, okay, you're not going to be working with these kids this summer. This isn't good, Nick. This is terrible. We need to pull you out of this situation. And I'm like, okay. And Grant sitting there is probably, he's actually happy because it means I get to go work with the Nebraska group this summer instead of EF. And so Dan's just okay, wait right here. I'm going to go get Mike Andre and their student manager to, have you apologize. And so this kid was not happy. I've talked with him openly about it. Alejandro Pena, he was not happy. Dude, he worked so hard to get 5 kids to sales school. He was dressed up in his President's Club jacket and everything. And I basically got 2 of his first years to want to quit, and he's just not happy with me at all. And I'm just apologizing. And he's really not buying the apology. And so I kind of break down in front of him being as someone who full-timed and struggled to bring 1 to sales school, this guy worked hard, and I'm kind of just ruining his team with some dick jokes, right? Yeah, right. And so Yandre's there, and we're all disappointed at the fact that I inspired such fear in these kids, and I'm not happy about it either. And so I say my apologies, they leave, and then Dan tries to go get the kids, right, and bring them in. They're like, hell no, we don't want to be in the same room as that guy. Like, we're gonna press sexual harassment charges. And I'm Dan comes in, and I finish the story of by the way, if you fuck with my sleep schedule, you'll wind up with my he's like, okay, yeah, that's definitely not an okay thing to say, Nick. And I'm like, yeah, I realize that. I'm sorry. Yeah. And so they like didn't in that moment, Dan was like, do you understand what this means? And I'm like, I'm not selling books this summer. And he's like, yes, what else does it mean? I've got a legal battle on my hands. Like, none of this sounds like remotely enjoyable, let alone easy to go through. And my life is changing in the snap of a finger. Like I spent 4.5 years at a career with this whole book cult, and I loved it, right? And now it's just like can't be doing this no more. And so yeah, literally that night was the keynote speech in the company. And so that wrapped up, and like all the kids were running out of the auditorium into the sales school parking lot, just like on fire for life, screaming at the top of their lungs. And in that moment, I was signing away my DA saying that I was not going to sell books for the Southwestern company that summer. And that's how I got fired from Southwestern. So yeah. I like packed up my things and like went. I said, I wrote like an apology letter to make it formal and have documentation and make sure that I was legally protecting myself and distancing. Southwestern's like, hey, we don't want you to be close to us in this whole legal battle, so you're over here now. And I'm like, and I talked with Mike, and he's just like real sad about it. He doesn't want any of this to be happening, and he was not happy with these kids at all. And I talked with a number of other people, and I just it was just like all of the wind taken out of me for 2 weeks, because I like drove my way back home on this lonely ride back to Nebraska, angry, frustrated, scared, alone. Like I didn't even know what I was going to be doing that summer.
Yeah.
And it's just like through tears, like angry, violent tears of like, this is bullshit, like I wanted to work my ass off that summer and, do something special. And it didn't happen. Oh, well, I wound up actually attempting to sell solar in San Diego, keyword attempting, because that was another kick in the pants. That was a terrible market. It was like, so like fraught with just failure that whole year. And I went to therapy. I've been, able to come out on the other end, and I've had my conversations with Dan Moore one-on-one to heal and get over all of the trauma that I've gone through. I did MITT and, gave my forgiveness to everyone that I've ever felt wronged by. And like, obviously, like all I ever care for is just to, be a good friend and a good influence, and hopefully be forgiven by those that I've harmed, and just, I don't put any blame on these kids, right? I've learned to just recognize that I'm the one who said what I said. I'm the one who inspired the fear, right? And the reaction that led to. And in a weird way, I mean, some people have prayed over how that played out for me, and we're just like, yeah, Nick, like, the only thing that really makes sense to like give you peace about this is like there must have been something in that summer of, if you were to actually go sell books, that would have been way worse than that, and God was protecting you from that by ending it early. I was like, whoa, that doesn't make it any easier, but thanks.
It sounds intense, but all right.
But yeah, so like, I don't know, I appreciate you for listening to the story, because that's like, it's hard being a podcast host for this company, like, and talking about this company I got fired from, and constantly talking about, oh, I got fired and this and that. And there's a story. That's how it happened. Hope y'all still love me all the same. I don't care if you see me as worse or not. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, it's, first of all, obviously appreciate you feeling comfortable enough to tell a story when I'm here. But because you and I, again, had never really worked together.
Right.
So I only knew somewhat of you, and what I was like, oh yeah, like, gonna come work with us. Okay. And then I heard this story. And then again, I still just didn't really know that much about you. And then I saw that you started this podcast, and I was like, that's kind of weird. Didn't he get fired?
Yeah.
And here we are today.
Yeah. Is that story like, did you hear those details, or was it all like fresh and like, what the heck?
I had known that you had said inappropriate things to boys, but I did not know the specifics. And they might have said, I might have known exactly before, but I don't remember. You saying it now, it's definitely like, I have that type of humor where it's like, if someone would have said that to me, I'd be like, that's funny as shit. But I've also learned that not everyone has the same humor as me. Obviously not in that serious of matter. Yeah, that's funny. I mean, that's very sad.
It's cosmically hilarious. I mean, I had to get fired for me to leave Southwestern. Like, I was attached at the hip, I drank that Kool-Aid. And I mean, it was definitely just like, none of it was what was desired and wanted, right? But that's the thing about struggles in life, is we're not guaranteed avoidance of problems by anybody, whether by some supreme creator or by our own parents. We're not said, nobody in our lives says, hey, you're going to be completely spotless. Your life is going to be, smooth, and you're going to be successful without trying, like, not a single person, not a single entity can guarantee that.
Yeah.
And that's actually kind of what the whole book thing is like, hey, go do a bunch of hard shit. Like, go face trials, and, like, you're going to be tempted to get off schedule and, do things that aren't good for yourself. And then you might do them anyway. And, you still have to, in that process of being in a cult, give yourself grace and be like, all right, I can get back on schedule. I can keep doing the thing. Or, you can get fired and get back into your senses and actually care about carrying your life forward. And that's part of what the whole special getting fired crew has to do, is figure out how to move forward in life and, let go of this big identity that, it's just like Southwestern is so core to who I am, and it is where I have most of my friends. I have a ton of friends that are from back home and from college, but none of the people around the world but the people that I'm friends with around this country and around the world all knocked on a door to sell a mom a kid's book at one point. And I can't just like be connected to that community and say, I got fired, so I'm never going to talk to anyone again. No, we're just going to have a good time and laugh at the craziness of it all and realize that it's not everything, but it's a huge thing. And when Andres called me in October or November or so, I think it might have been around there, that he was like, hey, I want to do this podcast. I think it'd be awesome to talk to alum about their story. And I was like, all right, cool, let's do it. Because I was living with book people. I know how fun and awesome they are and how much they don't really care, even if you mess up in your life.
Yeah.
And it's just been a blast since. And so it's been cool to have people like Maddie, Gregor on just out of nowhere after not talking to you for 3 years or something crazy, 4 years. Jeez, it's been crazy, but it's been cool to hear. Just to kind of pivot here, let you finish out your own episode here. Tell us about your journey into what you're up to now, and work there in Fort Lauderdale. And if you want to promote anything, you can. If not, keep it to however long or short you want.
Yeah, well, I think it's, what you just said, Southwestern is so ingrained in a lot of us. Well, so it's crazy because it's I have friends like Aubrey, who was on the show before, she'd only sold one summer, where it's me, Emma, Amber Lee, all my best friends, where it's this is a huge part of our life. And I think right now, where I did just move from Kentucky to South Florida, and a lot of new changes and adjustments, and I still just go back to like Southwestern, and I've been like very open, but yeah, the whole like adjustment, like moving down, like it has been a little difficult. And so my friends who are going to Wisconsin selling books right now, I'm like, I could just go sell books.
Right.
And so, now that I'm about to turn 26, it's just something that was such a huge part of our life. But at the same time, I only did it for 5 years. So 5 years out of, hopefully 80, 90, 100 years, it's not that long, but it's so crazy how this can just have like the largest impact. And I still like my job now, I'm like comparing things like, okay, Maddie, this isn't Southwestern, like stop. So it is just like a pretty like hard transition of like, we were so spoiled working with our best friends and selling books. Yeah, it kind of sucked a lot of the time, but we didn't care because we were with our best friends. We were in the middle of nowhere. And yeah, I don't know. It's just so crazy to think about how this one thing is like so crucial in a lot of our lives.
Yeah. And here we are.
Just
oh my God,
hanging out on a Sunday night.
Oh yeah, kicking it.
Yeah.
Fratty style. I don't know. I don't know how else to put it. Yeah, dick jokes. Woo.
That is kind of funny.
Oh, it's hilarious. I've definitely gotten over it because I'm at fault. Whatever. If I accept that, I can move on. Versus like if it's something I couldn't control, and like it was just maybe I have overactive smelly sweat glands and they couldn't deal with me because I smelled so bad. It's like, come on, guys. Like I have a problem. No, I said what I said. Like I chose to, not be prudent in that moment, I don't know. It's definitely interesting because, Maddie, I would say that of all the lessons that I've heard people talk about and share on this whole podcast platform, there's a pretty big lesson that you learn that you don't learn when you're like not fired, right? When you're not fired, you just kind of like leave on good terms, and you're just like, maybe you stayed somewhere too long, and you like, left on kind of like weird, crusty terms. But like, I got fired. People thought that I quit, and I ain't no quitter, I don't know, whatever. Thanks for listening, everyone.
There is a small handful of people that have been fired. And you were one of them. And you know what? Say that with pride.
Oh, yeah. I will. I have. And I thank you for emboldening me in that. So
hell yeah.
Hell yeah, Maddie. Well, thanks
this
for
fun. This was the first podcast ever. You are doing great things.
Thanks, Maddie. Well, appreciate you sharing some cool stories and spending some time on this Sunday evening, and wishing nothing but the best for you. So
thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, real quick, I'm gonna read off all the upcoming episodes that we got here on the podcast, and then we'll sign out. So if you got any friends, by the way, this Thursday, May 20th is empty. So if you want to recommend anyone jump on, we like to fill that Thursday time slot with someone fun. Right now it's empty for May 20th, this upcoming Thursday. On the 23rd, we're going to have Dylan Buck, a legendary GOID bookman, who sold a bunch of those things and recruited a bunch of people, and he's working with Family Heritage, just crushing it right now. That next Thursday, the 27th, is also open. So anyone willing to hop on to these Thursday episodes, we love them because they're kind of a nice way to unwind at the end of the day. But the following Sunday, so Dylan Buck, and then the next Sunday, the 30th, before Memorial Day, is Tessa LaPlante, who I know you're a fan of.
Literally just called me right now.
Nice. So yeah, I think she's gonna bring a friend on as a co-guest. So yeah, get her excited, get her hyped about that one. The next Thursday is open, and then the next Sunday is Will Metcher and Andy Laws. They had a scheduled episode a few weeks ago, but Will had a kidney stone surgery that he had to get a kidney stone removed. So it was too big for him to pee out. I don't recommend the kidney stone gang. So yeah, Will is recovered. Andy is excited to them both be joining us on Sunday, the 6th of June. And then again, June 10th, Thursday is open. And then the following Sunday, the 13th, is Mitchell Scott Johnson, the other full-time recruiter with me that spring semester before I got fired. So yeah, it'll be a good time.
There you go.
Cool. So that's the slate. If you want to, Maddie, just promote this episode. I'm going to upload it here onto YouTube and audio platforms like Spotify, Apple, and all those things, so you can share that.
Wow, that's so legit.
Yeah, it's all up there, and you can listen to some more episodes. And you know, I've got some favorite episodes that I can point you to if you want to have a good time. So yeah. Any last words? Anything else to sign off?
Rock on.
Yeah, let's rock on. All right. This is Madison Gregor from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and Nick Taverdi from Tempe, Arizona. Andres is taking his time off today because he's going to go travel because he's a man of the world or something like that. And yeah, we'll be back next Sunday. Hopefully this Thursday. We'll figure that out and talk to y'all then. Until then, signing out. Y'all have a great Sunday. Bye.